The 2023 GB3 season starts now. With 2022 in the rearview mirror, it's time for the drivers to get to grips with the updated car for this season. While some of last season's drivers remain, there are new hungry faces on the grid looking to come and take the GB3 crown and follow in the footsteps of last year's winner Luke Browning as he makes his way up that ladder to Formula One. Graduates from other championships and Direct Feeder Series GB4 are all after the same goal, but only one can win it. With only a handful of official testing days, setbacks at this stage can be worked on, but as time ticks on, everything needs to be ironed out before lights out for Race 1 at Donington Park on the 8th of April. Teams are working flat out to be ready with their drivers and cars, all whilst keeping a close eye on the other teams in the paddock. Arden VRD. Returning Canadian driver Nico Christodoulou is joined by new-to-the-series fellow North American driver Noah Ping, with James Headley returning for another shot this season after breaking his hand at the back end of 2022. Chris Dittman Racing. Zach Taylor returns for 2023 with a new team and is looking to push on from his 18th place finish last season. And joining Zach is young French driver Arthur Roguillon, signing a 2-year deal with CDR. Douglas Motorsport. A brand new lineup for Douglas with 3 different nationalities. Polish Timek Kaharkic joins from a strong Spanish F4 season. And joining him is Brazilian Lucas Staiko, who's also from an F4 background. Rounding out the trio is American Sean Rashid, proving his pace in Formula Ford towards the end of last season. Elite Motorsports. Mackenzie Creswell rejoins the GB3 paddock, this time with Elite, looking for championship glory after finishing just outside the top 10 last season in 11th. He's joined by Oliver Stewart, race winner in British F4 last season at Thruxton, and Japanese Ayoto Iwasaki, who joins for a full season after debuting at the Donington finale in 2022. Fortec. Switching teams this season, Max Esterson has his sights firmly set on taking the top spot, but very close on his heels is GB4 graduate Jared Waberski. The South African has adapted quickly to the new car, and he's right on the pace already. Fortec's third driver for 2023 is British driver Edward Pearson. Showing strong pace in British F4, he steps up another level into the GB3 car. Hill Speed. Hong Kong's Gerard Gier's first taste of British racing will come when the flag drops at Oulton for the first time. 12 race victories in Chinese F4 last season shows he has the pace, but can that be transferred into the GB3 car? Joining Gerard is Daniel Mavlatov. The Turkish driver's driven at an F4 level and joins Hill Speed through High-Tech GP's academy. High-Tech Pulsate. Reigning British F4 champion Alex Dunn continues his relationship with High-Tech with a GB3 season. The Irish driver has high hopes for 2023 after breaking records in F4 last year. Joining Alex is South Korean Michael Shin, with 1 season in British F4 coming straight from karts, taking a race win in only his second outing. Rounding out the trio is Japanese Suta Arao. The Red Bull and Honda Junior driver joins us from over the channel, having had 3 race wins in French F4, but for the first time for a full season since 2013, brings the striking Red Bull livery to the GB3 grid. JHR Developments. Welsh driver Matthew Rees and American David Morales return to the GB3 grid. Rees stays with JHR and has big hopes to improve on his podiums and a race win at Brands Hatch last season. Morales moves from Arden for his second shot at the championship, while British driver Joseph Loke joins GB3 with JHR. He had 4 wins in British F4 last season and shows he can mix it up with the front of the pack. Roden Carlin. A rebrand for Carlin with New Zealand-based headline sponsor Rodin coming in from this season. Their strong lineup consists of 2022 fourth-place driver Callum Voisin, who many will believe will be there or thereabouts at the end of the season. John Bennett moves over from Elite for his second full season in single-seater racing, trying to build on his 8th overall in the standings last time out. And 16-year-old Costa Taparis rounds out Rodin Carlin's driver lineup. The Aussie will make his European debut in 2023, hoping to follow in the footsteps of fellow Australian Daniel Ricciardo. GB3 has a strong heritage with getting drivers to the very top. Lando Norris and George Russell are two current graduates on the F1 grid, and 2022 champion Luke Browning had a very strong first outing, going from 19th on the grid to 5th in his first full race in F3, supporting the F1 at Bahrain. Runner-up from 2022, Joel Granfors currently sits 6th in the USF Pro 2000 standings, with top 10 finishes in the opening 2 rounds over in America on the IndyCar feeder series.
We're here at Donington Park for the media day ahead of the season and the first round at the GB3 Championship. 3 of the drivers from the top 10 returning, so we've got Reese, Esterson and Voisin, of course, for Carlin, JHR and Vortec, so the big teams are up there. We've also got some exciting new drivers to the championship as well.
Yeah, I mean, it is the most competitive I think GB3's ever been. It's incredible, but to stay at the front, to stay kind of there or thereabouts every single race is going to be immensely difficult, but it's super important to win the championship, of course, in that race 3 as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. The depth of the field is impressive, isn't it? It really is. If you look at the guys who returned from last year, they've all won races. I think obviously Bennett got his first podium at Donington and ended his season perfectly as well. So you're looking at those guys potentially in the title fight this year, you'd have thought, wouldn't you? Esterson and Voisin in particular.
Oh, yeah.
Starting at one of the best tracks in the UK isn't going to be easy for some of the rookies, and the reverse grid race can take its toll, as Luke Browning found out last year.
Oh no, that's Luke Browning.
Speaking of Luke Browning, what has happened to him? Damage on the front wing as well.
And both front suspensions as well. They must have been either collected a driver or the tyres or both there.
Setup here is key. Undulating, fast, hard braking and a banked corner make Oulton Park a test for any driver and team to get it right. But getting it right takes time.
Struggled with the balance a bit in the morning, but I think in the afternoon we made a big step forward. Didn't really get a good lap together, but I think the pace is pretty close and we know what to work on. So.
All of the teams were put on the back foot after 2 official testing days were snowed off at Silverstone. Coming into Donington Park's media and testing days, the pressure is ramping right up on drivers and teams. Mistakes at this stage can be costly. Red flags in sessions just eat away at testing time, so any mistake is a punishment for all the drivers on the grid. Long-standing team owners in the paddock are under huge pressure to make sure that everything's going smoothly to help everyone succeed.
As a team, I think we've got 3 drivers that should be scoring some good points for us. So it'd be lovely to be fighting for the team championship. We're always there or thereabouts, but haven't clinched it in a while. So that would be lovely for us. Let's see what happens. You never know in this championship. We like some wins. We like some consistency. And as long as we can keep fighting at the front, I'm happy, man.
Championship, the aim for both of them?
100%. 100%. Callum was nearly 3rd last year as a complete rookie. He's a fabulous driver. He's got a huge future ahead of him. So it's if we don't win the championship, we'll be hugely disappointed. But you can never win everything. So top 3 is always the target. But the teams thing that's the most important thing for me.
GB3 this year will be phenomenally tough for even the returning drivers. With the extension to race 3 on the reverse grid, there's certainly some good chances for podiums as we had last year with Nick Nick Gilks again in his first year of GB3. So yeah, I'm hoping that we can see a steady progression from both drivers and move forward and some podiums along the way.
Look at the drivers coming in. You've got Timek Kuharkic at Douglas, who has been really quick so far in testing. Mackenzie Cresswell's back. He's been fast everywhere he's been, having switched to Elite Motorsport. Really Matthew Rees, JHR, really showed his pace towards the end of last year, and this year, he's been right up there in testing. Look at Jared Waberski coming out of GB4, proving exactly what GB4 is all about, going from GB4 to GB3 and, in the top 6 everywhere he's been. But there's so many of them, isn't there, really? It's very hard to choose. Alex Dunn, a British F4 champion, dominant British F4 champion with something like a dozen wins to his name.
Jumping straight in Luke Browning's car from last year.
Exactly, the field is just, as you say, stacked with talent, and trying to pick a winner from this lot, good luck to anybody doing that.
Race 3's being longer is going to be the critical thing here. It's only 5 minutes longer, but that's going to bring in tyre management, it's going to bring in race strategy, and of course, more positions gained through the race, more points in the championship up for offer. It's going to be very difficult.
And also, we've seen that maybe that reverse grid has helped with all the drivers that have gone through. Kush Miney, who was racing the year that I raced, he's been doing really, really well, overtaking well in F2 as well.
Yeah, this is it. What we are seeing here, the drivers you just mentioned, for example, Kush in F2 has gone through from GB3 or British F3 as it was when he raced in it, up to F3, up to F2. It's what it's all about. The top drivers in this championship next year will be on the FIA F3 grid. We think we've got 6 of last year's grid, or for the last couple of years from our championship are now up in FIA F3. We've got, I think, 3 drivers in F2. Obviously, let's not forget George Russell and Lando Norris in F1 who've come through this championship in its various forms over the years. We've got drivers in IndyCar, Indy Lights, everywhere. It just goes to show if you perform in this championship, you are going to move on to that next level and get recognised.
It's not breaking it again.
I am so looking forward to this year because I think it is potentially not only one of the most competitive grids that GB3 or British F3 or whatever guys has had, but it's also potentially one of the most competitive single-seater grids there is, full stop, anywhere. I don't think there's potentially a more stacked grid anywhere, and I can't wait to see how it all plays out at some of the best circuits in the world. We have, of course, in the UK, so and also, of course, in Europe now.
Yep, 2 rounds in Europe, Zandvoort and Spa. So Spa at the end of May, start of June, isn't it? And then Zandvoort in October. That's going to be really, really interesting with 26 of these going around there. Can't wait to see how that unfolds. But what we should also say is, well, actually, we've done a bit of research and we think that this grid, 25, 26 cars in a single class, we think it might be the biggest grid at this level since the 1970s in this country. That's how big it's grown. But as we said, whoever wins it will thoroughly deserve it this year.
Who will follow in the footsteps of the past winners? And which rivalries will be formed as the season progresses?
Elation. Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. I was trying to, at the start I was like, right, it's all pretty aggressive. I'll let them do their thing and I'll sort it out later on. And yeah, it worked out. Chaos, yeah.
Next time on GB3 Race to F1, the early rounds. Who will come out on top and how will drivers fare in the new 25-minute reverse grid race?